Welcome to the Corporate Autopsy, where we open up the biggest brands in the world and show you exactly how the money died. In the 1980s, this company was the most dominant discount retailer in America. It had more than 2,000 stores, and both Walmart and Target studied it to learn how to win. Today, you can count the surviving Kmart stores on one hand. This is exactly how that empire bled out. The story does not begin with failure. It begins with a five-and-dime counter and a very simple idea about selling cheap things to everyone. In 1899, a man named Sebastian Kresge opened a store in downtown Detroit, built on a single promise: nothing costs more than a dime. That formula printed money for decades, and the SS Kresge Company grew into one of the largest variety store chains in the country. But the real giant was born in 1962. Kresge opened a new kind of store, a sprawling discount box in Garden City, Michigan. They called it Kmart, and it did not just grow, it exploded. Within a few years, hundreds of Kmart stores were opening across the country, each one bigger and busier than the last. The chain became famous for one piece of theater that turned ordinary shopping into an event. A flashing blue light would spin on top of a pole, and a voice would announce a sudden, limited-time deal in that aisle. Shoppers would literally run toward the light. The blue light special became a piece of American culture, not just a promotion. By the 1970s and into the 1980s, Kmart was the largest discount retailer in the nation, well ahead of a small Arkansas chain called Walmart. Here is what almost nobody realizes. At its peak, Kmart was so far ahead that its rivals were the underdogs copying it, which makes what happened next so hard to explain. The giant was not killed from the outside, the wounds were self-inflicted. While Kmart was celebrating its dominance, Walmart was quietly building something invisible and far more powerful: a ruthless supply chain. Walmart poured money into logistics, distribution centers, and early computer systems that tracked exactly what sold and what to restock. Kmart, by many accounts, underinvested in that same technology for years, trusting that its size alone would protect it. So while one company always had the right product on the shelf at the lowest price, the other was often out of stock or overpriced. That gap did not show up overnight. It widened quietly, one shipment and one restock at a time, until it became a canyon. To understand how Kmart fell, you have to understand the rival that quietly out-engineered it. Down in Arkansas, Sam Walton was building a machine. Sam Walton's philosophy was everyday low prices, one steady low number, instead of a constant carousel of sales and promotions. Walmart obsessed over cost control, squeezing every expense so it could pass savings to shoppers and still protect its thin margins. It became one of the earliest big retailers to embrace barcode scanning, adopting the technology aggressively in the early 1980s. By the late 1980s, Walmart had built its own private satellite network, linking stores directly to headquarters and distribution. That meant Walmart always knew what was selling, where and how fast, restocking shelves with unusual speed and precision. Kmart, by contrast, leaned on high-low pricing, endless sales that critics argue trained shoppers to only ever buy on discount. By many accounts, that habit quietly ate away at Kmart's margins, while its supply chain stayed a step behind. Instead of fixing its core stores, Kmart's leadership went shopping for other companies. They believed the future was a portfolio of specialty chains. It turned out to be a distraction that drained the mothership. Through the 1980s and 90s, the company bought or backed a scattered collection of retailers across very different markets. At various points that included names like Sports Authority, Office Max, Borders Bookstores, and the Builders Square home improvement chain. Each acquisition demanded attention and cash, while the actual Kmart stores grew older, messier, and harder to love. Shoppers walked into cluttered aisles, worn floors, and shelves that never seemed fully stocked. The magic was fading. And in a moment that became almost a symbol of the confusion, the company cut the blue light special, then later scrambled to revive it. Kmart did find a genuine bright spot. Around 1997, it launched the Martha Stewart Everyday line of exclusive home goods. Stylish, affordable bedding, kitchenware, and decor gave shoppers a real reason to walk into a Kmart again. For a while, it drove meaningful traffic and gave the brand a rare touch of aspiration and taste. Then, in 2004, Martha Stewart was convicted in a separate, unrelated insider trading matter and served time in prison. The legal storm dented the partnership at the worst possible moment. just as Kmart badly needed every advantage it had. So Kmart was fighting a two-front war it could not win. On price, Walmart was cheaper. On style, a rising competitor was cooler. Kmart was stuck in the middle, and the middle is where retailers go to die. Target took the same discount model and made it feel like a design experience with cleaner stores and trendier products. Kmart tried to answer with price wars it could not afford and makeovers that never quite stuck. Every attempt to compete on cost squeezed already thin profits, and every failed reinvention burned trust with shoppers. By the early 2000s, the losses were no longer a warning sign, they were a countdown. In January of 2002, it happened. Kmart filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. At the time, it was widely reported as the largest retail bankruptcy in United States history. The filing triggered the closure of hundreds of stores and the loss of thousands of jobs across the country. Communities that had built their shopping habits around the Big Red K suddenly faced empty buildings and locked doors. For a company that once set the pace for all of American retail, it was a stunning and very public fall. The company entered the filing operating somewhere north of 2,100 stores across the country. In the first wave, it moved to close roughly 250 to 280 locations. Tens of thousands of jobs were cut as the chain tried to shrink its way back towards survival. In 2003, Kmart emerged from bankruptcy as a leaner company, but the wounds ran far deeper than the balance sheet. Kmart survived the bankruptcy, but what came next was not really a rescue. It was a new kind of owner with a very different agenda. In 2005, Kmart merged with another struggling icon, Sears, under a hedge fund manager named Eddie Lampert. Lampert's firm had taken control of Kmart during the bankruptcy, and now he combined it with Sears into a single giant company. But here is what many observers came to believe over the following years. This was run more like a financial play than a retailer. The combined company sat on enormous real estate and famous brands, assets that could be sold, split off, and squeezed for value. Critics argued the stores themselves were starved of investment, growing dingier and emptier while the financial machinery kept turning. Whatever the intent, the result on the ground was a slow, grinding decline that stretched across more than a decade. In 2015, a large slice of the company's real estate was spun off into a separate company called Seritage. In 2017, the iconic Craftsman tool brand was sold to Stanley Black & Decker, and other famous names followed. As the assets were sold, stores went visibly underinvested, by many accounts dim, understocked and quietly hollowed out. It was a lesson the whole industry absorbed. In retail, being neither the cheapest nor the most distinctive can be fatal. Stuck in the middle, and then hit by the rise of Amazon and e-commerce, an already wounded chain simply ran out of road. Year after year, stores closed. The bleed was quiet, but relentless. And in 2018, the end finally arrived. Sears Holdings, the parent of both Sears and Kmart, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The bankruptcy set off yet another wave of closures, shrinking what remained of Kmart down toward almost nothing. But the numbers on a balance sheet never tell you who actually pays when a giant collapses. Longtime employees lost jobs they had held for decades, and many workers and retirees worried about the pensions they had counted on. Whole towns lost anchor stores that had defined their shopping centers, leaving behind hollow buildings and dead parking lots. This is the part of the story that the financial headlines almost always skip. The human bill comes due last, and it comes due locally. Today, only a tiny handful of Kmart stores are still open. The chain that once ruled American retail has effectively vanished. So what actually killed it? Not bad luck, not a single villain. Something far more ordinary and far more dangerous. Kmart was not destroyed by a competitor who got lucky. It was destroyed by complacency at the top of the mountain. It refused to invest in the boring machinery of logistics and technology, while rivals quietly built the future. It chased distractions instead of fixing the stores that made it, and, in its final act, it was treated as an asset to be drained rather than a business to be saved. The lesson is brutal and repeatable. Dominance is not protection. The biggest company in the room can still bleed out from the inside. Kmart wrote the playbook that Walmart and Target used to bury it, and it never realized the game had changed until it was too late. Which dead brand do you miss the most? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more autopsies like this one, subscribe, because there are a lot more empires that did not survive. And that is how the money died. If you want more corporate autopsies, subscribe, and I will see you at the next postmortem.